I will try to talk loud so everybody in the back can hear me. If you can't, or if I start fading off, kind of raise your hand or just hold up your hand to your ear. I'll try to use my dad voice so that everybody can hear me on that. All right. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm impressed this many people wanted to come and actually hear me speak, so I'm kind of impressed by that. Actually, this is actually, I think, I've been on the department going on 31 years. I've been chief for going on 6 years, and at the end of this month will be 6 years. And I think this is the first time that I've done a lecture that my parents and my sister have ever been here. So my parents are here. So, you know, better late than never. All right, I got them to come here. So, yeah, they get to actually hear me speak. Hopefully they don't throw anything at me. They're sitting up front. So, all right. Yeah, no, again, welcome. I'm glad everybody is here. What we're going to do, and most everybody wants to know, and I'm excited to talk about, is first and foremost, we're going to talk all about the new fire station. After that, then I'm going to go over some tips, some things that we usually get calls for, whether it's fire, we'll do on the fire side, and then the EMS. And then the best part, what I love to do, is actually get questions from you guys. So if you have any questions, then we'll save time for the questions and the answers. Hopefully I can answer them all for you. So we'll go ahead and get started. As you mentioned, there are 2 TVs on the back that will have them. What on my PowerPoint is, and for those that came in and on your way out, I do have some poster boards of the new station, kind of what it looks like on the outside, and then all the rooms on the inside. Now, I did not take pictures, and I'm not going to show you everything for the fire station because, you know, I want everybody to come out, so I know that's first and foremost, and we're going to get that out there. When is the open house for the new fire station? So I'm happy to announce it will be May 11th from 10 to 2. So May 11th, 10 to 2, it's open to everybody. So you have to come and see all the other things that I didn't take pictures of on that. So we'll go ahead and get started. So for those that don't know, we built a brand new fire station, and a lot of this is in part to the community. So this has been a long project. We've been wanting to do this for many, many years. We actually went back in 2016 and did a study of where we could put a fire station. It's not easy to build a brand new station, especially with the needs that we need to try to get centrally located throughout the city. Some of the questions that have come up is, why didn't we do it downtown or where the current station is? Current station it was just too small, the property, and then also the logistics of trying to build a new station on an old station property. We couldn't do that. As you can imagine, the cost of land downtown Wadsworth would be extremely expensive. So we're trying to save money where we can for the community because you guys ultimately supported this with the fire levy. So this project actually officially started in 2021 when we went out for the levy. The passage of that levy was able to allow us to continue and build the station. So the new station is located at 343 College. We actually had the opportunity to pick up what address we wanted. For those that don't remember, you know, the September 11th attacks, we lost 343 members on that. So we thought it was ideal that we could actually pick, and we incorporated that into our station. So we chose specifically 343 College to remember that. So this first picture that you're going to see, that is the person that everybody thinks I do all the work. No, it's my administrative assistant, Myrnae. She's pictured there. That is the front main when you come in there. That's who's going to greet you if you come in during the day. In the left on that, or you'll see that big window, that's the front lobby. That lobby is open 24/7. If you need an emergency, if somebody was driving by, there's a button you push. If our crew doesn't answer on the third ring, it rings in directly to dispatch. So somebody can always answer that phone 24/7. But real quick, raise of hands. How many people actually were in the old fire station, saw it through pancake breakfast on that? So most everybody, hopefully you remember what it looked like, how small it was. But her office was extremely small, almost like a dorm-size room. So one of the things that we wanted to do, we did give her a big open area. She loves the light, so she's got the big open concept is what we went with for her. She does all the work, in charge of all the payroll for the department, so we wanted to make sure she was happy. Front side. So we have a lot of TVs there. We've had a couple events that we found out we need all the TVs because there are cameras throughout the city. We've actually used drone footage, have drones up there where they can relay the information back into the TVs. So we have a projector and also TVs along with a lot of data ports. With all the technology advancements, we wanted to make sure, try to think of using that. Turnout gear room. So in the past, one of the things that we wanted to do with this new fire station, one of the #1 killers of firefighters is actually cancer. So all the chemicals that are being burned, when that gets on us, on our clothes, on our skin, we incorporated trying to remove all that with this new station. One of the things from the old station, the gear was out in the apparatus bay. So every morning when we started our trucks, all that diesel exhaust is going onto our gear. So we actually have our own dedicated room with an exhaust system. That's where we store the gear. Right now, currently, it's designed to hold 50 turnout gear. We are a combination department, so we have full-time members that work a 24 on, 48 hours off shift. And then we have part-timers as well. So they're working their normal job. We get a fire call, they come back to the fire station. So we have to incorporate gear for everybody. And then that door goes out to our apparatus bay. We do have a gym, a fitness area that's important for firefighters to try to stay in shape. I will say some use it more than others. I actually, my lunch hour, that's actually what I go on my lunch hour. I get away from my desk, and so I go on the treadmill for 30 minutes and just walk, clear my mind. So that's our gym. On the outside, we wanted to bring lots of windows and lots of glass. You'll see that. So on the outside, we have a privacy wall. In the summer, I know you'll remember, well, we ended up moving it, refurbishing it a little bit, and putting it over on here. That's part of the path that leads to our 9/11 memorial. We were able to secure a piece of steel from the actual World Trade Centers, so we now have our own memorial area. Again, we tried to incorporate the address with this. It all comes together. As I said, we're home away from home there for 24 hours, so the members do have to sleep. Some get to sleep a little bit more than others, depends how busy we are. So right now, this is the hallway. It almost looks like a hotel. It's basically what it looks like from the hallway. The rooms are more like a dorm if in college. They are not big. I'll show you a couple pictures. We do have room to sleep 6 people. Right now, we're averaging about 4 people that stay at this station currently. The north end fire station, Station 2, on the north end of town, we have 2 to 3 people, depending on staffing. So now we're inside the dorm room. So there's 3 lockers. Those are for the full-time members to keep their bedding and then their uniforms. So each full-timer has their own locker. That's their bed. That's pretty much the room. There is a small little built-in table that they can put a small laptop or something to do some work, or if they wanted to do some reading. Not much to it. A bed and a closet is pretty much what it is. We do have our laundry room. So on the laundry, again with the cancer, what we want to do is separate different laundry. In the past, we only had one place we had 2. A turnout gear extractor and then a laundry room. With this one, I actually have 3 places to wash things. This is what we call our clean laundry. That's funny. But for those that want to wash their bedding, if they worked, didn't get anything, they didn't go on any calls, they want to wash their uniforms, they can use these washer and dryers. I have a separate area for somewhere else, and I'll show you the picture on that one. So this is one of the hallways that we have. This room out over here on my left, that's actually dispatch. So dispatch, who dispatches for fire, EMS, and the police department for the City of Wadsworth, they were in the basement of City Hall. They were basically, we called it the dungeon. They had no windows, it was dark, they still have it dark, but it was in the basement. So we wanted to incorporate that, so with the move, we were able to move them in with us, which I kind of like because we never got to see dispatch, and now we do. But that is their room. They actually have windows now, so they can get natural light if they want to. It's worked out well. This hallway, all the lockers are for the part-time members. So again, right now, currently on the department, we have 48 members. Out of that, we have probably about 32 that are part-time. The rest are full-time. Picture of the apparatus bay. So all the vehicles that go out the front, the north, is our primary apparatus, things that we usually go out more than others. One of the things that we wanted to incorporate were high ceilings, 2 reasons. A, to do training with ladders inside, so if the weather is bad outside, we can still do that inside. But 2, the apparatus now, the front of the trucks, the whole cab, to service the engines, you actually have to tilt the cab up, so it raises up. So the old station, we had one bay that if you had to raise that cab up, you had to move that truck to that bay, which was the south end side. That was the only area that we could do that. All the other places in the old station, we couldn't raise the cab. So that was the other reason trying to go the height. For those, I've been in fire protection a long time. One of the safety features, it's hard to see in this, but it always worried me as a manager. The equipment is very, very expensive. That truck was about $825,000. The ladder truck that we just got last year was $1.5 million. So start adding all these trucks up. The thing that concerned me was we didn't have a sprinkler system in the station. So you know, the people, I was concerned about my people staying there, because believe it or not, fire stations can burn, happens all over the United States. So I was concerned for the safety of that. So one of the things with the new station that I was happy to see, we ended up putting a sprinkler system in. So now my members that are working there, they have safety, and then 2, the equipment, because if, God forbid, if something would happen to this, try to replace all that equipment. I have $10 million worth of equipment inside that station. So that was another thing. I'm very happy to have the sprinkler system in there. So this picture is actually on the west side. I'm standing on the mezzanine. Well, for those that always ask, is there a sliding pole? No, we don't have a sliding pole. Everything, you know, we try to get everything on the first level. We do have 2 mezzanines that are more for storage training, but I'm standing up looking to the east. And again, so on the very first one is our primary squad. Then we have our engine, our ladder, our tanker for out in the township, and then our heavy rescue unit. So that's all what's coming out of the north on that. Has anybody driven by the station at night? Seen the red lights? I get a lot of questions, comments about the red lights. You can kind of actually see them here on the garage doors. All that is let us know what the door is. If it's a solid red, the door is all the way down. If it's moving up or down, it flashes red. And if it's all the way up, it's green. We don't want anybody driving through the garage door. So that's what that was for. It has happened, and to me. So that's why I got promoted. They're like, you can't drive anymore. So on the west side of the building, is what we call our support services. So there's a bunch of different rooms. I only took a picture of one. This is our hose room, so this is where we keep our hose. We can wash it and we can dry it. Some of the other rooms, there's a maintenance room and outside equipment that I have a snow blower, the salt that we carry. Then I have a maintenance room and then an SCBA room where we carry our bottles and the oxygen on that. So that's what's on the west side. Up above that is a storage wet mezzanine. And then there's a small wet mezzanine, which I'll show you a picture. So this is our other room. This is what we consider our decon room, decontamination room. So if we come back from a call and from a fire call, we need to get out of our gear. Again, try to get all that cancer-causing stuff off of us. There's actually a shower in there, so we can strip down, take a shower if need be. Our uniforms can go in this washer and dryer, and then our gear gets put in this one, which is an extractor. It spins at a high revolution to get everything clean. And then this is our dryer. Basically, it blows air through the gear and dries it for us. On the other side of this is, I didn't take a picture of it, but it's actually out of the station. My wife's favorite feature is we actually have a tornado shelter. It's a small room. It's able to withstand an EF5 for 2 hours. So we have to protect our members. That's a new requirement for brand new fire stations. So at least if a tornado's coming, we can go in there, get protection if something would happen, and then we respond. If we're hurt, we can't go out and help you guys. So very happy to have the tornado shelter in there. This is the other mezzanine that we had. Originally, the original design of the station, we were going to put a training tower. Budget concerns, we ended up removing that. So I incorporated training where I could into certain other spots. This is one of them. This is what we call our bailout window. We can simulate putting a ladder up there, going into a second floor story, getting people out. We actually did our first training with that last Wednesday. And for those that follow our Facebook site, I think you should have seen that there. Within the apparatus bay, we also have an exhaust system that removes all the contaminants. There's alarm CO gas detectors that will monitor, and then it kicks up the exhaust to try to move any of those contaminants out of the apparatus bay. So I showed you the inside, now we'll go to the outside, the front of the fire station. For those that we're working on some signage, we have people going in all different doors, especially deliveries. So when you first pull in off of College Street, this is the first door that you're going to come into. That's the main entry for the fire station. Again, I said dispatch is there, and they act as their clerk of courts when the courts are shut down. So if you have to pay a parking ticket, none of you, I'm sure, but parking tickets, things like that, you can't see them. That's going to be the second door. So that's just the front door, main entrance. We have the temporary signs because everybody keeps coming to every door. We've got to learn. So this is the main dispatch door, which as you come along on the east side, that's the door. If you ever have to pay a parking ticket, you can do it through that door. But this is the east side of the station. So we incorporated not only brick, but metal siding. One of the things when we moved into this, we wanted to be a part of the community. We didn't want to, just stand out. And so some of the designs that we went with wanted to incorporate the residential area. So we went with metal siding and brick. This is the back side of the station. That is our generator. So our generator powers the entire building. Some places, most of the generator only does partial, like the important features. The fact that we're a 24/7 operation and we have dispatch, we power everything. So it's a bigger generator. It's a 300 kV for those that know anything about electric. It's big. That's a picture of the back side. Again, a little different than the front. We didn't want to do all brick, stand out. We were budget conscious. We were trying to save some money as well. And I felt the appearance on the back side looked well with the metal siding. This is that west side. And that's just a exit only on that one. So if you come in, the main entrance is on the far east side. Picture of the front. One of the things that I wanted, reminds me of the old school firehouses with the arch, center arch. So we went with that strictly on the front side of the building. Another picture. It was sunny when it. And that's it. That's it. So, yeah, I didn't necessarily, when we planned this chili with the chief, I didn't know it was going to be 70 degrees. I mean, I know chili on a 70-degree day is not ideal, but it is. So that's for the fire station. Yes?
This lady wants to talk to you.
Okay, we're going to do, I still got some stuff to go over. I'm going to do questions and answer at the end. I wanted to go over some fires and the EMS stuff. Hopefully, I think I'm doing good on time on that. So, I know everybody wanted to know about the fire station, so I did that first. Wanted everybody to see that. So, we will do an open house May 11th, 10 to 2. Please stop by. Actually get to physically walk in it because, honestly, it's the community's building, not mine, not the members. You guys, by passing the fire levy, supported us, and it's your guys' building. So, talk about some fire safety. I want to make sure I get the safety aspects in there. So, who thinks they know what the #1 cause of fires are in homes? I heard electric and I heard smoking. Candles is another one. Actually, the #1 cause is cooking. Cooking fires is the #1. I can't tell you, I mean, we've been on many cooking fires. A lot of times, thankfully, it's small. We just get smoke. The smoke detector goes off. It's not the actual fire, but that's the #1 cause of fires within residential homes on that. Now, on the flip side, and I did hear it was mentioned, on the #1 fatality from fires, what we get, it's because of cigarette or smoking, some type of smoking. Lately, and I know the Ohio State Fire Marshal put something out on it. Last year was a bad year for us too. Smoking and oxygen, they don't mix. I'm just telling you. They don't mix. We've actually had in this town, we had a fatality from a fire because of that. So it does happen more than what most people think. But cigarette smoking or some type of smoking, whether you fall asleep, medications can make you tired, and oxygen. Those three are usually what the #1 fatality within residential homes. That's what we see the most. Some of the others, the electrical candles, absolutely. The wintertime candles is a big one. I know one year, many years ago, we had a bunch. I ended up doing a WCTV program on that, just try to promote candle safety on that. So I want to let you know on that. So what's the best defense that we have, whether it's because of the cooking or the smoking? Our #1 defense is smoke detectors. You'd be surprised, I mean, as many years as I've been doing this, that we still go into places that don't have working smoke detectors in homes. We get called, fortunately somebody was there, they were awake, they saw something happen, called us, we got there. But a lot of times when we're there, we're going to check the smoke detectors, and not all of them work. So I can't stress enough, smoke detectors are your #1 way to prevent or at least be notified of a fire within your house on that. There are new requirements. Back when smoke detectors first came out, it was on every level of the home. Now newer homes, the requirement is every level of the home, outside the bedroom and inside the bedroom. So that's new requirements on a new residential home. You have to have that. Part of the reason is, and we stress to sleep with your door shut, because that prevents all the smoke and everything going into your room, and that's why we have them on the inside and outside of the residential bedroom doors as well. So when you go shopping for a smoke detector, if they're kind of confusing, there's all kinds out there. There's some that work on battery only, some are on 120 volt electric, some are combination. You have to figure out what you have in your home. New homes, it's going to be electric because they're going to tie them together. So if one goes off, they all go off. But there's two main types of smoke detectors out there. There's photoelectric and ionization. So there's been a lot of studies going on back and forth, which is the best one to get. I will tell you the ionization is cheaper than the photoelectric. The ionization is usually what they consider for the fast flaming fires, where the photoelectric is for the slow smoldering. Within NFPA, who does a lot of fire studies, they have found out that it seems like we're getting more slow smoldering fires. So what the state is recommending is having a photoelectric, or you can get a combination where it's photoelectric and ionization. Actually, that's on every level of my home. I have a combination, and then I do the photoelectric on the others. So photoelectric is kind of what the state fire marshal's been pushing, is to go with those ones. Usually on that package you'll see a P or an I for the ionization on those. The other issues, a couple of things with smoke detectors. How long do they last?
Years.
Until they start beeping, usually, 10 years. They recommend replacing your smoke detectors every 10 years. So a couple of changes that have come about is they're now, most of the smoke detectors, you have an option. You spend a little bit more money for them, but they come with a 10-year battery. So that way, when that battery's dead, you change the whole smoke detector, not just, what are we coming up to? Time change, spring and the fall, change your clock, change your batteries in your smoke detector. You'll see that on our electronic sign. I'm going to be putting that up. But they're recommending going with a 10-year. The other thing with it, it's nice, some of the buildings, they have these big cathedral ceilings, and to try to change the batteries all the time, it's difficult. It's difficult. So we recommend that way you only have to do it once every 10 years. So recommend getting the 10-year battery on those, and actually the 3 smoke detectors that we're giving away have those. So good luck to whoever on that. But smoke detectors, yes. So change your clock, change your battery. Some will do the 9-volt batteries on that. Some are tied in. We always recommend, changing your clock, changing your batteries on those, and test them regularly on that. That's your number one defense to find out you have a fire in your house. It's going to save your life. All right. Along with smoke detectors, one of the things that we see in this one is carbon monoxide detectors. So the thing with carbon monoxide, you can't see it, smell it, taste it. So you don't know you have it, but it'll start affecting you. And it's basically, they call it the silent killer, because you don't know you have it. You go to sleep and you're not going to wake up on that. So with carbon monoxide, one of the things that we see is where do I put the detector? So with carbon monoxide, if it's in the house, it's going to go throughout the whole house, whether it's on the upstairs level or the basement. Originally, when the detectors first came out, everybody was putting them in the basement because of the furnace, the hot water tank. They figured it'd be there. But the issue, what we've ended up finding is on a 2-level home, you may not hear that detector go off. So that's why we recommend being the carbon monoxide detector by your bedroom on that. So carbon monoxide detectors by your bedroom. We want you to be able to, if you have it, it'll go throughout the whole house, but we want you to be able to hear the detector if it goes off. There's all kinds of manufacturers out there, different models. I personally like the one that gives you a digital readout of basically carbon monoxide measured in parts per million. You can actually work in places that have carbon monoxide and it's still okay per OSHA. But when you get to a certain level, that's when it becomes deadly. So always recommend having a carbon monoxide detector along with a smoke detector on that. Now, those are usually recommend to replace every 5 to 7 years. A lot of the manufacturers at 7 years, they have an internal clock. Once you activate it, that it will start beeping and it comes in as an error. The reason they do that is the sensors in those can go bad, and we want to make sure that you have a newer, better sensor. So that's why I'm sure it's probably money at some point the manufacturer making, but the main thing is with the sensors to make sure that it's monitoring the CO that you may or may not have in the house on that. So recommend those every 5 to 7 years get replaced, having those. Another thing on the fire, this goes for fire, EMS, and all that, is we need to be able to find you. And this is very frustrating. I've been on many calls where we get called to an address and I can't find your address. Sometimes in the old, for those that remember, on the old houses, it was in script. Try reading script at 2 in the morning that you've just been waking up and go to the house. What does that say? I'm sure some of the newer generation, I don't know if they can read script on that. Don't know. So script is actually not allowed anymore. We recommend having it visible, different color. Just try, and the other thing, try finding your house and say, all right, can I see that address? So this works not only for police, fire, EMS, the UPS, FedEx, the pizza guy. They need to know to find your address. And the other thing is, find it from an opposite way. If you always go to your house, I always go to my house from the south up. What about coming, if it's possible, if it is a two-way street, coming from the north? Can you see it from both ways? Because you never know how we're going to respond to your house. So that's another thing to look at. But we need to be able to see your address. I mean, if it comes in as a structure fire and the flames are coming out of the roof, pretty good chance we're going to find it. But it's more on the medical call, and that is so frustrating. And many times I've been on calls and you're trying to find the address. One of the numbers is off on the mailbox from the snowplow or something, and it's like, what number is that? It's very frustrating for us because we're called to an emergency and we want to get there to you as quickly as possible. And if we can't find your address, that is very difficult for us. So just take a look find your address on your house and see if it's well lit, if it's the different color than the house. A black on black is not a good color match on that. Another thing, last thing on the fire side that I want to talk about, this goes fire and EMS, is almost everybody has cell phones now, which is great. We get lots of calls through cell phones, and actually there's new technology that our dispatch, as soon as you call 911, they actually can see the cell phone pinging and coming in as an emergency, which is good. One of the things I just always like to let everybody know, and this is changing, within probably a year or two. But currently, if you call 911 from your cell phone, it does not go to our dispatch center. All 911 calls within the county will go to the Medina County Sheriff's Office. What they do is they start the process, they will start getting your information, and then they actually will call our dispatch and give them the information. So it slows down a little bit. So sometimes I always recommend putting in the non-emergency number into your cell phone, and then it'll be quicker. Because when you call, dispatch will say, is this an emergency, especially if they're busy? And you say yes, and then they'll go through. So you save that time from the phone going to the sheriff's office and then relaying back to us. That could save about a minute, which, you know, if somebody's having difficulty breathing, that's important. So I recommend doing that. I will have magnets and stickers that actually have the non-emergency number on your exit. You can be able to pick those up. But that's one of the things I always say, put in your phone the non-emergency number. But there is works being changed within the county, actually all the state of Ohio, that they are working on trying to change where your cell phone will go to the closest PSAP or dispatch center. They're working on that. I don't know the exact date yet. It's with the state, so we're not sure what that's going to do. And that doesn't guarantee that you'll still get our dispatch. So if you're on the border, say on Eastern Road on Wayne County, Medina, it may go to Wayne County Sheriff's Office or it could come to us. So there's no guarantee on that, but that is in the works. But best thing, if you call the non-emergency number, that's going to go directly to our dispatch. So I want to let you guys know on that. That's pretty much what I have for the fire. We'll go with the EMS and then questions and answers. So EMS, what's probably our number one call that we go to? Yes, falls. There's many reasons for that, but falls is probably our number one call that we go on to. So with falls, some of the reasons, you know, as we get older, you know, we're unsteady, our little gait as we walk. A lot of times what we see is tripping hazards, whether it's small animals, rugs, cords, oxygen tubing. We'll see people fall on those. So the rugs, make sure they're non-slip, you know, basically if you can move it with your feet, it needs to be slip resistant, you know, so on that. Basically, I always tell people, declutter the home. Can I walk through without having to move or step over anything? That's always a good thing. So we recommend that. Another thing is, if you're like me, getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you need lighting. Lighting is another one. Poor lighting is our eyesight. Sometimes we have difficulty seeing, so I have a ton of night lights in my house just to be able to see as I'm walking, because I don't want to turn on the light and then blind myself as you're walking. So lighting is another one that we see, poor lighting. So with the fall hazards, we do recommend, especially we see a lot of falls in the bathroom, grab handles. Recommend having grab handles. I've seen that save a lot of people. Another thing is, how many people, when they fall right next or on their phone? It usually doesn't happen. So, for those that live alone, we always, or that your home, we always recommend this is just a name brand. There's all kinds of options, so I don't endorse it, but everybody knows the name Life Alert. You know, whether it's dependence on this. Now, we do get false alarms from those. People leave and we get called. They accidentally push it, we get called. I'd much rather go there and everything's fine. But I can tell you, I've been on many calls that if it was not for their Life Alert, that they activated it, I guarantee that person would not have made it. Because they've fallen, they can't get up, they broke the hip or something, and without that, there's no way they could have got hold of 911 for us to get them help. So, especially for those that live alone, I highly recommend those. Life Alert is just one name brand, but there's many out there. So real quick, I wanted to talk about hospitals. This is usually a question, and I'm sure I'm probably going to answer it. What hospitals do we go to when we transport? We try to go to the hospital that you want, within reason. The hospitals that we go to, Akron General, Akron City, Maine, downtown, Barberton, Wadsworth, Medina. Those are the ones that, Montrose West, for those that know where that is, it's in Bath Township on 18. We go there. We try to go to those hospitals that you request. I will say it's not 100% guaranteed. There's a couple reasons for that. If hey, if you're having a heart attack, if you're having a stroke, if you're having a trauma, Wadsworth is not the best place for you. They're going to tell us, no, don't come here, because they don't have the capabilities to do the treatment for that. Some of the other hospitals, Barberton, for STEMIs, or basically a heart attack, their cath lab is only open Monday through Friday for certain times. So we're either going to, if you're having a heart attack, we're going to take you to City or General. Now, you can request, oh, I want to go to Barberton, and their doctor's going to tell us no, and we're going to try to convince you, but ultimately, if you want to, it's not good, but technically it's your choice. If you're alert and oriented and that's your decision, people can make poor decisions, then you can technically still go there. They can't deny you, but we want to do the best for you. We're going to tell you to get to the appropriate facility. Talking about falls, so we mentioned a lot of people have falls, and I'm probably could bet half the people in this room are probably on some type of blood thinners. So that's probably our number one medication that we see is some type of blood thinners. So the issue with blood thinners, especially is falls. Our hospitals will make you a trauma. If you fall, you're on a blood thinner and have some type of head injury, they're going to want to make you a trauma and go to Akron City or Akron General because of that. Because blood thinners, the thing is, we can't see internal damage because your blood is thin. You may have internal hemorrhage inside that we're not going to be able to see. Barberton can't treat that. Wadsworth can't treat that. Medina. They're going to ship you to a trauma center. So things like that is where we may divert you. Talking about diversion, there's a lot going on with the Akron hospitals in Barberton. Sometimes every once in a while here in Wadsworth. Ever since COVID, the hospitals have been inundated with people, and there is a lot of times they get really busy and they go on diversion. Basically, they say they are full, they need a break, they can't take any more patients, so they will basically say we're not open to traffic. So then we have to go to a different facility. So sometimes that happens 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes it doesn't happen for a couple days. So that plays into our transport as well. So there's a lot of things to figure out where we're going to go, but we do try to take you to the facility of your choice within reason. But we are going to try to give you the best appropriate care facility that you need on that. So I wanted to bring that up. Well, the last thing that I wanted to say on EMS is have some type of list. Like, one of the questions that we ask is, what medications are you on? And I know for some people this changes regularly, but it's hard to remember all of them. If you have a list of your medications, for those that remember the info tube, the vial of life, whether it's at the on your refrigerator, it used to be inside the refrigerator, outside the refrigerator. If you can have a list, it has your name. We don't need your social security number, but if it has your name, what's your medical history? Do you have AFib? Are you a diabetic? Or, you know, what medical conditions that you have? And then a list of your medications, that helps us out. The last thing, if I go on an EMS call and somebody's having problems breathing, and then I have to ask them all these questions. I always feel bad asking them all these questions because they're struggling to breathe. We're giving them oxygen, but we still need these answers because that can change our treatment depending on what medications and what history you have. So I always recommend having that in your purse, on your wallet, somewhere in your house that it's, you know, we can find easily. And then the main thing with that is updated. That's the most important part, is updating that. So that's all I wanted to go over. I know I'm probably going way over, and I apologize, but hopefully, you know, you guys wanted to come and see me. So, the last thing I know I wanted to remember, for those that I did show you pictures of the station, but Bruce on the Loose did one. I did a tour, gave him a tour of the station, so you get to see a little bit more live video on that. That came out November 18th, so you can look that up through WCTV, and you can actually see the video if you want, if you're not able to make it to the open house. So I wanted to bring that up. So now is questions and answers. All right, and I think Lori and Tim, you guys are going to help with questions. I'm going to try to get a quick drink.
Since you are in a residential area, how has the people living around there taken to the sirens going off in the middle of the night? Or is there any different way that?
Yeah. So,
Are they upset or?
So the residents around the new station, how are they taking us? I like to think they're getting along with us, and I feel that we're getting along with them. Again, building the station, we tried to incorporate things that we can look into a residential area. So the building layout, how we designed it, we tried to do that. Like anything, we are going to make noise just like neighbors make noise. We do try to keep that a limit. Most of the sirens, I was going to say, usually is once we get on to College Street is where the sirens go, and depends on the traffic. If College Street is a main route, if we see a lot of traffic, we're going to have more noise on that. But overall, I was going to say we've had a couple emails about how our operation, and we tried to explain that with the neighbors. But I think overall, it's been positive. You know, of course, especially those that live around and that have called us, we get a good response time. I know we've been on a couple calls on Alt Street when it's right there, so it's worked out for some. Good question.
Okay, I've got the mic, so I'm next.
Okay,
And don't you laugh.
Oh, there you are. I was trying to say.
Don't you laugh at
Oh, no,
my
ma'am.
question. This is for nosy neighbors. When the EMS comes to your neighbor's house and a person is taken out in a bag, I was informed by my son, who is with a fire department in Marysville. What kind of bag was that? Was it a body bag? Was he dead? And he said, what color was it? So, the color of the bag determined what condition the person is in the bag?
No, not for ours. So honestly, it's 30 years. That's the first time I got that question. So, you definitely get something for that one. So, you get something for that one. That's a good question. So, a bag. Most likely, to be blunt, it was probably a DOA, dead on arrival, or something on that. Now, that's not 100%. So, I have been on calls. Let's just say bed bugs infestation. So sometimes if there is some type of infestation, we have put people in bags. The colors, whatever we get, I think ours are most likely white, our bags currently. So, you know, but usually that's the two reasons. Either the person has passed away and we're putting them in a bag, or there's some type of infestation that we're trying to contain it. Hazardous materials, something like that, would be another reason that they could go into a bag.
I don't think that was the case. But it was a question because of my neighbor.
Yeah. Okay, that was a good question. Never had that one before. See, I think I've done it all and seen it all and heard it all. And nope, it's always something. So, good question. All right, we have a question back there.
Yes, are you going to give CPR? Are you going to give CPR lessons or first aid?
Yes, we do CPR classes. We actually just started those up. If you follow our Facebook site, there's a class coming up. I think it's March 26th. I can almost guarantee it's March 26th because it's my wife's birthday, and I can't do it. But you can call the station. My administrative assistant, she has the list of when they are, and CPR, it's $5. Basically, the only thing we charge for is actually the card that you get from SUMA. We run ours through SUMA hospitals. We have some members that are CPR trained that will do that for you. So I would recommend calling the station and find out when the CPR classes are. And if you follow our Facebook, I think they just put something up on that it was either today or Friday, I think is when they posted that about the classes. So we do CPR classes. I think we've got 3 planned for the next couple months on that. Yep.
What? Oh, she wanted
Okay.
something. She wanted something added to that CPR. What is it? The defib.
Along with the CPR, the AED, the defibrillator, yeah, that's taught hand in hand. Yep. When we do the CPR, they do the AED as well. Yes.
My
So-
question is, if you have something, my mom, we had a thing in the refrigerator and on her door not to resuscitate, how do you handle that, or?
Yes. So that's always a tough one that comes up is the DNRs. So a lot of people choose basically to have a DNR is do not resuscitate. People don't want to be worked. There's a couple different types of DNRs. There's a CCA, which is like a comfort care arrest. There's different levels of what service you want done on that. So the main thing I can stress with a DNR is make sure it's properly filled out, signed by a physician, and that it's available. A lot of times, you know, it's a stressful situation when somebody is unresponsive when we get there. That's one of the questions we usually ask. Do they have a DNR? You know, but you have to provide it for us. So always have it on hand. Again, that can go hand in hand with that information, the medications, the history. If you keep those together and know where those are at all times, that helps us out. So then we can see what the DNR is, because there's different levels. So we provide the right treatment on that. So it's a good question.
Okay, if you have fallen, you're in your house and you can't get to your front door or your door, those who have garage door keypads, that code can that not be sent to you?
Good question.
The fire department, they code that in and they can come in and get into your house, but please do not lock the door from your garage into your house.
Yes. So if we have to, we'll break entry. A lot of times we'll call the police department on that if we have to break entry. So one of the things that you can do, lock boxes, usually like those residential lock boxes, you could put a key on that, have that. That code, your garage door code, if you want to, you can call our dispatch, the non-emergency number, and you can provide them your address and that information. What is that code? Or if some people will still hide a key under a rock. We have that. But if you call our dispatch and have that, they will enter that into their CAD, their computer program. So when your number, your address pops up on their screen, it will have that information, and they relay it to us. So that way we know that, all right, this is the code. They don't do it over the radio. We get a special page over our phones. So that way we can know. That's one way to get in there if you've fallen and can't get to the door. That is one option, yes.
Smoke alarms. I know at one point in time, the Red Cross would come out to the house and put them in for you. And they had the 10-year batteries. And at the end of it, the battery life, if you call them, they will come out and replace it. No charge. Are they still doing that?
To my knowledge, Red Cross still does that. I know they will install smoke detectors on that. I don't know all their requirements. Sometimes they have certain requirements of income on that and installing them. A lot of times Red Cross, they wanted a partner. Usually I've seen in the past they partner with Lowe's or Home Depot to try to work together and to do that. We every once in a while will install, if we need to, install a smoke detector. It's just things have happened in the past, especially again with those cathedral ceilings, us trying to get a ladder in there, and then now all of a sudden there's a scratch on your wall, things like that. It's difficult, so we try to avoid the cathedral ceilings. That makes it difficult for us on that, and I don't want any of our guys hurting your walls or anything like that, just to change the smoke detector batteries.
When they put them in my house, there was no question about financing, income or anything, and they put it on both floors of the house.
Okay.
And they said, if you have a problem, call us, we'll come out and replace it.
Yeah, Red Cross has done smoke detectors. Yep.
Red Cross will do it as long as it's in a house. They can't do it in apartments.
Yeah, they don't want the whole landlord issue.
I've got two questions. One, you said 12 full-time people. Are they all EMS people?
No. We have more than 12. So out of our full-timers that work 24 hours, 48, I have 15 right now. We're in the process of getting our 16th person on that. So they work 24, 48. All of those are paramedics, level 2 firefighters, and then they become fire inspectors as well.
Yeah, the other question, since we're on the county line, like Wayne County and Summit County, you got mutual aid. Does that go over county lines? Is that any problem with mutual aid and things?
Yeah. Yes. So, like with all departments, everybody has issues with staffing, getting enough people. So that's why the MABUS is there, mutual aid between other departments. So, oftentimes we will help Norton, Chippewa, Rittman, Sharon, and then if we need help, we call them in, and that goes for both fire and EMS. We have 4 ambulances, and there's times we've had 5 or 6 calls of EMS calls all at the same time. So we can't do everything, so that's why we do rely on mutual aid. And we cross whether it's Summit County, Wayne County, and other departments within Medina County.
Okay, I'm Janice. What if, off of this, back to the resuscitation with
Yep.
people, what if, like I call you and then I can't talk anymore, I've passed out, and you can't find my paper or anything? How do you handle that? Do you
Then we're going to do what we feel the patient will want, and usually at that point we're going to work you.
Okay.
Do everything that we can in our powers. Yep.
I have a question about fire extinguishers. How
Yes.
often do they need to be replaced?
So fire extinguishers, actually before I was full-time on the fire department, that's what I used to work on is fire extinguishers, servicing them, recharging them. So it varies on the type of fire extinguisher that you have. Dry chemicals are every six years they have to have an internal inspection done on that. They should be looked at every year on that, but every 6 years they have to have an internal inspection. That's for those. There's carbon dioxide. Those are every 5 years that they have to be internally inspected. And then for those that may have water. But for most part, everybody has the powder type. Now, not all of them can be done. So if you buy them, Home Depot, Lowe's, usually they're the cheaper ones. They don't have like a metal head. It's usually, there's not even a gauge. It's usually a green button. If you push it and it pops back up, it says it's got pressure to work. I like the ones that actually have a pressure gauge where the green's in the middle and you can see, all right, yes, I have pressure, because we've had some that come directly out of the box and it's a plastic head, and a lot of times they'll leak at that O-ring. So I'm not a fan of the ones that you push the green button and it pops back up. I like to actually see a gauge. But there are 2 companies within town that work on fire extinguishers. You can take it to them, they can service them. But usually internal maintenance is usually done every 5 to 6 years, depending on the type of extinguisher that you have.
I have a question. It's a little different. I wondered what happened to the old station on Lyman.
Okay, good question. Yeah, I failed to mention that. I'm sorry. So everybody was wondering, what are you doing with the old fire station? So currently, right now, we're not selling it. We're keeping it at this point. The back portion of the station, the police department is using it as an overflow. Their SWAT truck was currently held at our North End fire station. With this one and given the station, I kicked them out of there and gave me more room. So they're holding their SWAT truck at that station. The back half, they're utilizing that. The front half, our communications department. For those that don't know, the city's going through a big fiber optic change within the city. So the communications department's using it for some vehicle storage in the front. So it's still being used more so as a storage. Nobody's there all the time, so it's more of a storage facility at this point. So, and that's just temporary. What happens in the future, I don't know. That's going to be our safety director's job, who's back here at King. That's up for him to decide. So, next question.
How do you dispose of smoke detectors? Some places will not accept them.
Yes, that's always the difficulty. We always recommend reaching out to the manufacturer because they're the ones that made it. They may have it. So the issue that comes into play, usually not with the photoelectric, but the ionization, there's actually a plutonium something 457 material that's in that. So there's some places that won't take it. A lot of times the solid waste county over in Medina County, the solid waste district, you can always check with them to see if they will take them. But a lot of times we always recommend reaching out to the manufacturer and go off with theirs. They're the ones that made the product. They have to provide you with a way to dispose of it.
Thank you.
Chief Lindner, what is your role in securing new EMS personnel and firefighters?
So we always looking for staffing. So there's a couple of things. One, it's budget. So especially for full-timers, that has to fall in within the budget. Basically, I would go to the safety director and say, give me more people, and he's the one that will allow that. For part-time members, we're always looking for those. We take applications on those. We're actually getting ready to review a couple others on that, just to bring those people in. We do interviews. Some members for the part-timers are already certified, others are not, and we have to send them through class. So depending what class they go through, to become a normal firefighter right now, it's almost about 156 hours on that. To do your basic EMS, it used to be 120 when I started. I've seen classes up to almost 200 hours now just for your basic EMT. Paramedic, that's a whole year process on that. So we're always taking applications. We look at those, we review those with the safety director, the HR, myself. We review them, do interviews on that. For full-timers, that always, comes down to budget, what's allowed, what we can appropriately within, looking at reason within the budget of the community, what we can afford. Then we can go through that for full-timers.
How many women do we have firefighters and EMS?
So for the women firefighters, I currently have one that does fire, and then I have let's see, I think it's 6 that do EMS only. So we still have some people that just do EMS only, and I think I'm at 6 off that top of my head. Yep. Yes.
Quick question on your generator.
Yes.
Is that on all the time, or do you run off of utility and then has a UPS or?
So there is a transfer switch on that. So currently right now, if we see power outage, then it'll kick on. We run it once a week, Sunday mornings at 8. It runs as weekly test on that. But usually, it doesn't backfeed into the system. It just does its weekly test, or if we lose power.
Okay, that was it. And then Knights of Columbus really got their eye on that building.
Well, they would have to talk to the safety director on that.
I have a twofold question, like, do you guys go down Grandview and pull the fire station trucks in so you don't have to back in off of College?
No, so the trucks, when they come back, only one of those bays with all the equipment that we have is where they can actually pull in. So we actually pull straight through. That's our ladder truck, because that's the biggest truck. All the trucks that come in from the primary side, our primary ambulance, the engine, they will actually pull on that front apron off of College Street. They'll turn around and back in. The secondary units, whether it's our reserve engine or our second squad, they'll pull in on that east side, pull around and come back. They don't come in off of Grandview, and actually we have an emergency access that can go to the park and then off to Alt, but there's actually a bollard in there that we don't plan to use it unless it's an emergency.
My other question is, many cities like Strongsville, they have a red light that comes on to stop. Are we going to have anything, since especially with football games down that way and other things in the buses?
Yeah. We've talked to engineering about getting something. There's different things on the market, and we're trying to figure out which one we want. Whether the one thing that we currently looked at were the big arm poles. Be surprised to get those poles. It's about 8 months just to get that from, and that's after engineering got involved. We may look at something similar to, if you've seen those school crosswalks that start flashing when you push it, we may look at something like that. But there is something in the works that we're still playing around, seeing about getting something. So, good question.
Okay, so we want to be cognizant of your time, Chief Lindner.
Oh, no, this is the best part of my job, doing this. So, if you guys want to keep listening to me.
Are there any plans to have police follow or go along with you when you're going on a call, when people don't pull over or don't? Well, I don't know. I mean, it just seems so unbelievable. People just keep going. They don't stop. And they go through red lights. They just don't stop.
Yeah, not everybody, I don't think, was taught to pull over to the right. I don't know, it doesn't always happen. And some people, I've seen where some people freeze. They just don't know what to do, and so they just stop on that. No, the police aren't always going to follow us on those calls. I mean, they're busy just like us. Now, they do respond with us on certain calls, depending on the nature of the call. They'll respond with us, but usually they're already out and on the road driving around, so usually they always get there before us, so they usually don't. But right now, there's no plans, to my knowledge. I haven't talked to the police department with it, but no plans to have them follow us. I know they got enough stuff to do. Go ahead, Pat.
Hey, it's my turn.
You finally got your turn.
Let's see.
It's on.
Hello. Everybody hear me? Chief, I really have a practical question. I know I'm a clown, but this really is a good question. Yeah, have you seen the suction devices that they use for removing obstructions in the throat?
Yes.
They put over the face. Do you use them on squad now? Or?
Yes. No, currently we do not. We still have, there's a vacuum suction that we have that we carry in our go bag, basically on that. And then inside we have a portable unit that we can bring in, and then there's one on the squad. But I have seen, I know what you're talking about. At this point, there's no plans to purchase those.
Okay. No. I have one, but I cannot work it because it's all written in Chinese.
Thank you so much. I think that, oh, there's another question. Okay.
It's not a question, it's just a comment about your station. Just for those of us who are directionally challenged.
Yes.
Can you number your doors so that if you have a parking ticket and you want to pay it, you just tell us to go to door number 5 and then it'll be a big number on the 5.
Well, we already have in the works signage, and it's actually going to be on the building. So I don't think we'll need doors. I think you'll be able to see it once we get our new signage up. It's currently on order. But that's a good question. We actually do that with nursing homes. Some of the nursing homes, we have them label their doors so we know which one to go into. Yeah. So, all right, well, thank you very much.